Desai. I'm a professor in atmospheric and oceanic sciences at UW-Madison, which is what brought you all here today. It's my pleasure to welcome you to our reception, which is sponsored by Robock, an alumni donor who has provided all this wonderful support to be able to provide you an amazing spread of food and drinks, and so enjoy. Thanks. It's great that we're all here in person in Denver at AMS, and it's been a pretty amazing week. I'm just going to give a few little department updates, and then I want to introduce our awardee for our 2022 Alumni Award. So the department, if you haven't been paying attention recently, has been thriving, and it's been in a big period of transition. So just in the last 4 years alone, we've hired 7 new faculty, 5 of them are women, and including our most very recent hire, who I think is here in the room. Wave your hand, is Professor Myra Oyala-Merced, who came to us from NASA JPL. So welcome, Myra. So she's our most recent hire. Go say hi to her. We have a record class in the number of AOS majors that is over 60 students in our graduate program. Our graduate program is healthy and growing. We're in our 3rd year of our professional master's degree program. Last year we had 12 students. Every single one of them were placed in internships, many of which were sponsored by our alumni, and are all working in industry now today. It is quite a testament to that. And as you mentioned, as you came in, we were asking about potential hosts for future internships. Please do let us know, because you are an important source of many of the connections that our students need to be able to thrive in that. We also have an amazing staff who organize this event, as well as all the things that we do in our department. Let's just give them a big hand. They're all out front, so along with Pete, who's here at the front. And then, yes, I also want to recognize, I think Professor Greg Tripoli is also here. Most of you may know that Greg retired last summer, so congratulations for after 30 plus years in the department. We'll miss you, but as you know, not going to be a stranger. The most recent news for our department, if you may have seen on the UW press release, the university recently received about an $11 million investment, both from the University of Wisconsin Foundation and the USDA, to start the Institute for Rural Partnerships, which is going to start Wisconsin's first meteorological measurement observing stations, with about 90 stations in the state, a funded state climatology office that will have a state climatologist based in our building, and that will be part of the UW extension. So this is a big lift for us, and it's going to really be able to improve the way that we can measure weather and climate in the state of Wisconsin, and as well as provide opportunities for our students. How many of you spent time in the so-called map room on the 14th floor? Yeah. So that room has kind of fallen into disuse in the last few years, and so this year we've embarked on a project to actually renovate that room into what we're calling a UW Alumni Lounge, because it is funded through donor support for many of you, and thank you for that. When you come back to Madison, we hope you can spend some time in that room, which will now be a space to gather, a space to talk about weather and climate, a space for students to meet, a space for alumni to meet. So, what I want to do now is just kind of tell you a little bit about our 2022 Distinguished Alumni Awardee, who is Bette Otto-Bliesner, who is in the room here somewhere. Come on up. So I think a lot of you know Bette, but for those who don't, she got her master's, and PhD in what was then called the meteorology department at the University of Wisconsin. And then since then, she's had a distinguished career in the science of past climates and paleoclimate, and particularly an early leader in the use of models to understand climate systems and how important understanding past climate is for being able to make sense of future climates. In addition, she's had a distinguished career. She won the Omni Lectureship from the HU. She's a fellow of the HU and American Meteorological Society. She's a mentor to numerous scientists, where she currently is as a senior scientist at the National Center for Atmospheric Research. And we have a word for you that you get to, if you're local, so you don't have to pack it into your suitcase. But we're going to congratulate you.
I'll keep my thank you short, but It really is an honor to be added to this list of very distinguished alumni. I see Louis Ucciolini here, but also Rick Andrews, who's retired now from NCAR, Terry Kelly, John Kutzbach, that we lost a few years ago, and Bill Smith, who won it last year. I guess he couldn't be here because of illness. I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank and remember all my colleagues and friends at University of Wisconsin. What memories I have of the university, having done all my degrees there. With a special thanks to my thesis advisors. Some of you may know them, many do not. Frank Seacrest, who was my senior honors thesis advisor, Don Johnson, who I worked with for my master's, and Dave Houghton, who I worked with for my PhD. And a very special thanks to those of you who nominated me. I've heard through the grapevine that maybe I should be thanking Liz Maroon, one of your assistant professors who kind of spearheaded this nomination for me to win this alumni award. And I'd also be remiss if I didn't thank some of my other mentors, NCAR scientist Warren Washington, who introduced me to climate modeling back in the 70s. I was a weather nut, but I transformed into a climate modeler. And John Kutzbach, who I know most of you know, who started me on my lifelong adventure into paleoclimate modeling. And then she'd be embarrassed if I said this, so she's not here. Esther Grady at NCAR, who's been my co-conspirator for the last 30 years on keeping paleoclimate and modeling a bit relevant to NCAR. And last but not least, my parents, who supported and never questioned why this daughter in the 1970s wanted to study meteorology and make a career of it. My husband, Alan, who's back there, who tells me that he was the best ever header of the Divax weather maps in the 14th floor math room. I beg to differ because I followed him, but I think I was the best one doing that. Those of you that were came after that, the Divax machine was a very particular machine, and it liked to tear up the maps right before a major snowstorm or thunderstorm. But I learned a lot of weather by all of those who were senior to me that would stand around these maps and discuss the weather forecast. And then just to my wonderful children, Jessica and Brian, who have always supported me in my career, though my son never liked my hyphenated name, I'll tell you. But it's unique. It's the only one in Google Scholar. So thanks again. I'm just thrilled. I'm just beyond myself to receive this honor from this department that meant so much to me and really laid the foundation to everything I've done since then.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Just a couple minutes before you get back to your drinks and food. So as Betty mentioned, last year our prior awardee for the Alumni Award was Bill Smith Sr. At that time we had awarded to him during our virtual reception. We were hoping to have him here today. We'll be doing another recognition for him later in the semester in Madison. Speaking of that, and there's a number of other alumni who have gotten awards as well as faculty. Some of those are on the slideshow, and if you have ones and you know of ones about our alumni or also other accomplishments, please just email us. We have a new communication specialist in the department who's going to really up our ability to keep track of alumni news and notes and kind of enhance our newsletter that we send out, simply better than what I can write and send you. And finally, I'll point out a big event that we're coming on. So either the October 6th, 7 or October 13th, 14, it's still to be determined. We are going to have our 75th anniversary recognition. So our department is turning 75 this summer. And we're hoping to do a 2-day event, timed potentially with homecoming, but timed with an opportunity for alumni to come to the department, spend some time, and have some more time to reflect and have a banquet later that evening. So stay tuned. We have harvested all your emails, so we will be sending out that blast to all of you who attended tonight as well as on our department social media pages and websites. Do join the AOS alumni groups. As you saw, there's a QR code sitting on the tables. If you are not a member of those, it's a great way to stay in touch. If you're coming to the building, make sure you get a selfie with Pete, which is a requirement on the roof. And then finally, thank you for if you've enjoyed the wine glasses for our department logo on those. Those were brought to you by an alumni donor, and we want to thank the donor as well as help enjoy this. But this is also an opportunity for me. I wouldn't be doing my job as chair if I saying we can't do a lot of things beyond what we do here for our students. Scholarships, the 9 undergraduates that we brought out here to the AMS meeting, the trips they do for field measurements and experiments are all done entirely through the donations we get, $10, $50, it doesn't matter. So we really, really appreciate it. I just want to give a hand to all of our alumni, and especially our donors who helped support our department through the years. So thank you, and thank you for being here. The bar is open until 9 o'clock, I've been told, so I need to pass that on as well. One word from Bette Otto-Bliesner. Okay.
Yes, this is a little bit apropos because John Young was a picture right here. John Young wanted to tell everyone that was here, he wished he had gotten here, but he had a procedure done last week, and he's doing much better. And he says, say hi to everyone. And he is now the emeritus director of the Oncology Office. So.
Thank you. Well, exactly on that message. Say hi to everyone here. Say hi to some of the students who are here today and tell them your story and how much this place meant to you. And thank you for being here. And I hope to get a chance to talk to as many of you as possible in the next few hours. Thank you.